Hey there and welcome. This is Bella Rose and you are watching Crack the Confidence Code, the 5 things you should start and stop to feel free and fierce in the bedroom. That's right. That is what we're talking about. Now, my name again is Bella Rose. I'm an author, a coach, a marital intimacy enthusiast, most importantly. I also run a podcast where I get to interview wives and intimacy experts on what it takes to have a thriving and lifelong marriage and intimacy in it. Okay, mouthful. But welcome. I am so grateful that you're here. And let's talk about the problem. See, I speak to wives all the time who don't feel confident in their body, and they don't have the confidence to even initiate sex, much less feel confident in other flavors of intimacy. And I want to talk to that wife here. Okay? I know what you're feeling if you've felt like you're not enough, you're not sexy enough, toned enough, pretty enough, capable enough, thin enough. I mean, we're constantly in this battle of, am I enough to make my husband happy or to feel confident? Okay, so what we're going to discover today is how to get out of your head and into the experience. You'll discover what are those specific 5 things that you need to stop doing and the 5 things you need to start doing to feel confident in your body, to initiate and feel sexy in the bedroom. So I want to tell you a little bit about my story, my tango with confidence, as it were. So I grew up knowing very little about sex, and I also grew up with an eating disorder, actually, that started very young. And so I always felt like my body was not enough. It was never sexy or thin or any of those things. And so stripping down in the bedroom felt like I was exposing all of the things that I hate, the things that I try to hide, the belly fat, the leg jiggle, the love handles. And that was my perspective, but I know women have struggles with even more things that are their experiences that cause them to not have that confidence. So here's what we're going to talk about today. As women, we are bombarded with how we, quote unquote, should be all the time with media and advertising. And we live in a society that makes us feel bad about ourselves all the time. You know, there's a lot of hard things we encounter, whether it's seeing perfect abs on the magazine next to the checkout line, or having an extra peppy friend tell us about their perfect life, or, just scrolling through Facebook, seeing all the time these seemingly perfect families living a much, quote unquote, better life, right? And here's the thing, the enemy wants us to use all of these experiences to take away our confidence, right? Because here's the deal. A confident woman is fierce in life and in the bedroom. And we are who we are out in life. We bring that into the bedroom. Everything comes with us into the bedroom, right? And the reason why this is such a big deal to me is because a confident wife, wife that's fierce in the bedroom is fully unified with her husband, and that couple can do so much for the Lord. They can do so much when they're completely unified, as the Bible talks about being one flesh. It's awesome. So the enemy wants to distract us from what God has purposed for us, okay? And that's why we have got to fight against that, the lies that he feeds us all the time. One lie he specifically says is physical perfection is necessary for confidence, right? But that's a lie and an unattainable standard, because he wants to distract us from what really matters. Okay, let's dive in. First off, stop looking in reflections as you pass them, right? They're everywhere. They're in the elevator, on the office walls, in your house. Resist checking yourself out as you walk past a reflecting glass on storefronts, in car windows, on the bus stops, wherever they are. Resist. Because glancing at your reflection reminds you that looks are most important. Every glance at a reflection lets you judge yourself on your looks. So why not start here's something that's interesting. You could even start counting every time you catch yourself looking in a reflection, and by the end of the day, you would be surprised. It's going to be in the high double digits, right? So 20 or 40 times a day, you are reminding yourself that looks are vital to your life and happiness. But how many times a day do you remind yourself to value your inner beauty? Those things that really matter, those things that are not passing away. Because you and I both know that beauty fades. Pretty soon wrinkles are going to happen no matter what you do. And if they're already there, you know what I'm talking about. But here's the deal. What's inside matters. That's what matters. So don't compare yourself. Don't objectify yourself as you just go through your normal daily life, because that's robbing your confidence. Okay, stop commenting on others' physical beauties as though it were a judgment on their worth. So, of course, it's an easy conversation starter. I'm absolutely guilty of this. So, as in, you start the conversation by saying, "Oh, don't you look beautiful?" Or, "Wow, did you lose weight?" But here's the thing. When you say something like that, it reiterates to yourself and the other person that that is the most important thing. Instead, you should be focusing on the inner beauty, right? Beauty compliments are obviously not bad, but just check yourself. If these are the main compliments coming out of your mouth, try to vary it up to reflect God's values to your friends and acquaintances instead of society's. So talk about God's values, not necessarily society's values. Begin complimenting others with words such as generous, kind, gentle, loving, faithful, joyful, peaceful, patient, good, and self-controlled. So here's some examples. You could say, "I'm so grateful you're here. You bring such joy to the event." Or, "You seem energized. How are you feeling?" Or, "You are such a gentle soul. I could learn so much from you." Wouldn't those be that would remind you of God's values, not society's? Okay, stop assuming strangers are judging your physical beauty. I know we do that all the time. It's so much anxiety. Am I wearing the right shoes? Am I doing this or that? Just assume they are not caring about the physical stuff, okay? Because they shouldn't be. All right. But to have confidence, we have got to assume they're not. Okay. When a man is looking in your direction, you should just give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's looking your way because he recognizes you, or you remind him of his sister, whatever. A stranger's opinion of you and what you look like really doesn't matter. A friend of mine says, "What other people think is none of my business." I think that's awesome. That might be something you need to write and frame and put on your fridge and put it all over your house. What other people think is none of my business, right? Business. Okay, so stop judging others' worth based on their physical appearance. So the Bible makes it clear beauty is not to be our measuring stick, and it should not be trusted. Instead, what you should do is bounce your eyes when they land on someone else's body, which you would normally name as bad or good. So I'm saying if you see a woman that has certain qualities that you think is a good thing, or even you think is a bad thing, just ignore it. Beauty is not your measuring stick. And bouncing your eyes is the best way to get away from that. Just don't let your mind go there. And bouncing your eyes is basically like your eyes go on that and boom, they go to the next thing. Boom, they go to the next thing. Boom, they go to the next thing. Because you accidentally kind of let your mind go that place and then you stopped. Okay, so then the last one is obviously similar to what we're talking about, but stop comparing your looks to others. Do not let your eyes rest on the covers of magazines and advertisements of sexy bodies. Just don't let yourself meditate on the looks and compare yourself to supermodels or other figments of societal beauty. Now, supermodels, they have achieved physical beauty, yes, but it has been a constant preoccupation for them. And my question to you is, are your values their values? Would you give up the follower of Jesus, the friend, the wife, maybe the mother that you are to temporarily have a societal ideal, because eventually it's going to go away. Even the supermodels, they eventually sag. They eventually turn into one of us, normal people. And might I add, God says that beauty is fleeting, it's deceitful, and it's vanity. So we need to start focusing on the way that God cares about our body and our confidence. So let's start doing some things, right? Start using the temptation to check yourself in the mirror as an opportunity to remind yourself of your inner beauty. Use it to remind that you are well loved by your Creator. Use it to pray for God to develop strong character and the fruits of the Spirit in you. And ask God to make your understanding more like His in this area. It's an opportunity every time you have that temptation. Use it. Okay, the next one is start speaking the sword of the Spirit. If you want to look that up, Ephesians 6:17 talks about the sword of the Spirit. But when the devil tries to tempt you with the lie that your worth is your physical appearance, you need to be responding with the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. Okay, so Philippians 4:8, we're supposed to be thinking about whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable. If there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think on these things. So again, redirect your thoughts when you realize that they are contemplating wrong things. Okay, 2 Corinthians 10:4, I'm just going to talk about some other scriptures that will be really helpful to memorize. The weapons we fight are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they are divine power to demolish strongholds. 1 John 2:17, the world and its desires pass away, but whoever does the will of the Lord lives forever. Colossians 3:2, set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. Proverbs 139:14, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. 2 Corinthians 4:18, so we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. I would just encourage you to commit the verses about your inner beauty to memory and speak them to yourself when the temptation comes to believe the lie. Okay, start spending time admiring your body. So I want to just remind you that this body is not yours. It's first of all a temple of the Holy Spirit. And before it was even the temple of the Holy Spirit, God designed it. God knit you together in your mother's womb. So that means every little part, every unique quality, every inch of your body was purposed and designed and created by God. So I encourage you, it is not narcissism to begin to love the body God has given you. It is instead going with what God thinks about you. He is in love with you. He adores you. He adores all the cool areas of your body that maybe your husband doesn't even know is there. I make the joke that I love my clavicles, but I don't think my husband even knows I have them, which is fine. It's okay. That's between me and God. He loves it. He created it. I love it too. I'm grateful for it. So here's one thing that you can do that'll really help, is when you take a shower, just take a little bit of extra time and wash every inch. And as you're washing, just give God praise for every inch that He's given you, just every area, because that's going to be just a nice thing that you can begin to understand that my body is beautiful. My body is made with God's touch. It's not my own. And as you begin to understand that confidence grows and grows and grows. Okay, so let's talk about start noticing the parts of your inner beauty that God has already matured. So I want to encourage you, it's not just to be getting to a place where you love your outer beauty, yes, but also you need to be loving your inner beauty and the ways God is growing your character. And and thank him that he's growing such wonderful, beautiful parts of your heart day by day, as he truly, truly is. Okay, so number 5, this is a longer one, but this is really key, is start focusing on the purpose. So I'm talking about when you're about to make love, if you're feeling like you don't have the confidence to initiate, or you feel like this surge of nervousness or fear, I want to just talk a little bit about that fear, because here's the deal. We either walk by faith or we're walking by sight. And a lot of times when we're walking by sight, we're walking by fear. And I don't want you to do that. So let's talk about what this means. All right, so first of all, let's give an example. Let's say we've got our friend Leslie up in the front, okay? So Leslie's giving a presentation to a room full of people. Let's say she's the one that's talking up there. And consider that she's really, really nervous, okay? And she's saying to herself, oh my gosh, what do these people think of me? I wish I had ironed my shirt once more before leaving the house. I'm not good enough for this presentation. The things I've prepared are kind of bad anyway. And what if someone asks me a question that I don't know? Or maybe they'll make fun of me, and I don't really have anything really helpful to say anyway. And why am I even up here? And I mean, it could go on and on. Let's say Leslie is just a basket case of nervousness, right? And she's focused entirely on herself, right? Everything that she's saying, this nervousness that's going on, is her feelings, her nervousness, all about Leslie. And so here's the trouble with nervousness and with lack of confidence is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. In a sense, her doubts and fears will make the presentation not very good because she's not focused on the purpose of her message or her listeners receiving it. Her nervousness about not being good enough is actually undermining her success. Does that make sense? So if we go into making love being nervous and being focused on ourselves, we're actually undermining us from having a great experience with our husband because we're focused on ourselves. Now, the best teachers know that they need to meet their students where they are to have the most effect on the classroom. A great presenter is completely concerned with what her listeners need to hear and delivering that message the best way possible. But if Leslie's mind is consumed with her own insecurities, she doesn't have any awareness of her purpose in presenting. Does that make sense? She literally doesn't understand what the purpose is. She has no room in her mind to be thinking about the purpose because she's so focused on her own fears. So when you are scared of something involving another person, it's usually because you're only thinking about yourself. So here's another example. Can you imagine a doctor being too nervous to talk to someone about a treatment that would save his life? But the doctor is just too nervous to share this life-saving news. We would probably all want to scream, "Get over yourself, doc. It's not about you." Right? It's not about him. The doctor should not be nervous because his focus should be about the purpose, saving the life of the person. Leslie shouldn't be consumed with herself. Instead, she should be concerned about her purpose. Meet her audience where they are and teach them what they need. So to understand this in the context of your bedroom, instead of focusing on your insecurities, your fears, and your concerns, instead focus on the purpose to unite your marriage, to become one flesh. That is your purpose. So how do I know focusing on the purpose does work? Well, let me ask you one thing. When was the last time you did something incredibly dangerous and actually dangerous for your life, I guess is the way to say it? Well, it was probably just yesterday or today even, right? You drove to wherever you drove and you went there, even though it was completely a life, I'm not thinking of the word right now, a dangerous life endangering experience, right? You know it is. You know it is, but you went anyway. You decided to go to the store in 20 minutes, that was more important than being fearful and walking, which was take, a day or whatever. You decided to focus on the purpose. So if the enemy can get you off track and let you be distracted by insecurity, he will. But you cannot let him. Focus on the purpose of unifying your marriage, of unifying yourselves. It is worth it. Your body is beautiful. You are worth it. So let's just sum up exactly what we talked about. So first of all, believe in the value that God put in you, that you are who you are, and that God designed you, that you are enough. You are worth it. And don't let the mirror define your worth. And focus on the purpose of your confidence, unification, unifying your marriage. All right. Well, thank you so much for staying with me. This was awesome, and I'm grateful for it. There is more coming, so I want to just encourage you. There's a few more videos, and I think it's going to be great. So let me see you on the next one. God bless you. I love you. Bye.